I'm Joyce O'Haja and I'm in Copenhagen, the world's cycling capital, where many people prefer to travel on 2 wheels rather than 4.
I'm Russell Beard in London, England, to meet a local hero who believes in the environmental benefits of sharing.
And I'm Oliver Steeds, and I've come to the coast of Northern Ireland to explore the power of tides.
And I'm Juliette Pearce in Australia, where saving the Tasmanian devil is a top priority.
Our cities are becoming more and more congested and polluted by cars. In fact, by 2050, the number of cars worldwide will have tripled. Now, most cities don't have the infrastructure to deal with the sheer volume of traffic on the roads. I'm Joyce O'Haja and I've come to Copenhagen in Denmark, where they're proving that with a little bit of planning and promotion, the way forward might be on 2 wheels rather than 4. Well, I am a bit nervous because I haven't been on a bike in nearly 10 years, but I'm told this is the place to hire your bike. It's the first cycle cafe in Copenhagen.
Hello.
Hi, Henrik. Joyce.
Hello,
nice to meet you. So you're going to sort me out with a bike?
I will.
Fantastic. Okay. Ready? Steady. Oh, no. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay. I think you're doing very well.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay, number 73. This is where Mikhail lives. He's going to be talking to us about cycle culture here in Copenhagen. Let's see.
5 years ago, I took one photo one day on my way to work, and I put it out on Flickr, and people were absolutely amazed. Wow, how does she ride in a skirt? An entire generation in many parts of the world had forgotten that bicycles can actually be used just to get around in your regular clothes. The bicycle is just a part of life here. It's a vacuum cleaner for us. Everybody has one, everybody uses it, we don't go around thinking about it very often. There's a few 100,000 cyclists every single day in greater Copenhagen. If they were all sitting in cars, the city would look like Bangkok. But because we've moved so many citizens over onto the bicycle, it has an amazing effect on congestion, as well as pollution, even noise pollution. The bicycle continues to heal our cities in a way, and our cities in many senses are kind of broken. If you make the bicycle the quickest way from A to B in a city, any city in the world, everybody will do it.
I'll try not to ride into you.
No problem. You know, you're in one of the safest places on the planet to ride a bicycle.
Okay.
So, and we'll take care of you. We got the cycle tracks. You stay on the inside, I'll stay on the outside.
All right.
When you have a few 100,000 people cycling, you know, they decide upon some collective speed, and it's 16 kilometers per hour, 10 miles an hour. A bit faster in the morning rush hour.
What are we doing now?
Oh, we're doing about 8.
Oh. Do you think I'm ready for the big leagues? What about rush hour traffic?
Rush hour is it's not for beginners.
600,000 cyclists ride these streets every day on one of the best planned cycle networks in the world. We're now off to meet Copenhagen's bike boss, the man whose job it is to make the city cycle-friendly.
Hi.
Joyce.
Hi. Joyce,
Jazeera.
nice to meet you.
I'm Andreas.
Hi.
Great.
I'm going to leave you in the able and capable hands of Andreas. He's the head of the Copenhagen bicycle office, and he'll tell you everything you need to know about what the city is doing for planning for cycling. But now I need a photo of you for the blog.
I'm happy to do that.
Right.
Copenhagen is considered one of the best cities in the world for cyclists. Why is that?
I think one important reason is that in Copenhagen you can go wherever you want to go on a bicycle. The bread and butter of the system in Copenhagen is the cycle track. We have a track especially for bicycles and then a curb to the street. Right. So you're sure that you will have the space for yourself if you're traveling with your kid or if you're speaking with a friend on your bicycle. We have synchronized the traffic signals for the speed of a bicycle. If you ride this way, you will have, I believe it's 15 traffic signals after each other. And if you travel with the speed of 20 kilometers an hour,
right,
then you will have a green light all the way.
Oh, so what's this?
The top number shows how many cyclists on this stretch today so far.
Okay.
And this one down here, 3.5 million or something like that, is how many cyclists this year until today.
Right, so more than 8,000, 8,500 people today.
That's correct. We have what measures up to the population of Denmark on this street on bicycles each year or more.
You've come a long way already, but what's your vision for the future for Copenhagen?
The vision here is that we will see even more children in the rush hour on bicycles. Then you have created a system where you have good conditions for cycling.
Yeah.
It's an important thing in just creating a good city to live in.
I'm Russell Beard and I've come to West London to meet 33-year-old Sam Stevens. He set up a website called Street Bank. It's all about getting people together to share anything from children's toys to gardening equipment and hopefully reduce the amount of stuff that ends up in landfill.
Sam,
How are you, Russell?
nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us.
Come on in.
This is lovely. What is Street Bank? How did you set it up and what's it all about?
So Street Bank is a website that lets you see what your neighbours will lend to you or give away or the skills they'll share. And it shows you everything within a mile of your front door.
I love that. So as soon as you see it, you know that it's walking distance.
Yes, exactly that. And as you can see, there are 373 people in the area that I live in and 664 items and skills. If you want to join, you can just fill in the details.
Russell Beard, I'll have to pledge something in order to join it. That's how it works.
It's totally free to join, and you can join anywhere in the world, but you do have to show that you're community spirited.
For example, most UK households have an electric drill, which on average is used for less than 15 minutes in its entire lifetime. Street Bank reduces this waste by allowing one drill to be shared by many houses. So you've set up Street Bank, but do you actually use it yourself?
Yeah, I do use it. In fact, the original vision for Street Bank was so that I could borrow some hedge trimmers from my next door neighbour. And as you'll see from the hedge is completely overgrown. I've never got round to cutting my hedge. So we're gonna find some hedge trimmers, but because it's high up, we also need a stepladder. And I'm gonna send a little message, ask to borrow.
I mean, this is a genuinely social network.
I think that lots of social networking websites take people away from actually having human physical contact.
Yeah.
Rachel, hi, good to see you, nice to see you. We've come to borrow some step ladders, if that's possible.
Step ladder.
Oh, magnificent.
Here we go. Not magnificent, but it works.
Brilliant, thank you so much.
Okay. And anything else?
Yeah, if you had a rake.
So tell us a little bit about how you heard about it and what motivated you to...
Well, I'd moved to the
take
area, so I thought I'd go on it, and I had a few bits and pieces to give away, like baby clothes that my baby had already grown out of. And this is Emily.
Hi, Emily.
So Emily got a sand pit.
She's a big fan of Street Bank.
Yeah. We go on quite a lot because I find it's a good way not to buy new toys. And this will go back on Street Bank.
Love the way they've given us step ladders to the short guy. Now, there's an actual hedge trimmer about a 5-minute walk around the corner, so we're just going to dump our stuff here and go and pick that up and then get to work.
These are my kind neighbours promoting Street Bank.
Hey!
So you'll see a few of these Street Bank stickers. Here he is. Christian.
Hello, mate.
Hello, nice to see you.
And you, how are you?
You're very well, thank you. I was wondering if I could pick up this
Certainly.
to borrow.
All ready for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and I'm sure it will serve you very well.
Thank you
As
so
I said,
much.
Excellent service you provide here.
Thank you so much.
You know, these limited and infrequently used items take up so much space, there's no point us all holding on to them.
Yeah. Have you ever used Street Bank yourself? Putting you on the spot?
Yeah, the ladders. I mean, who wants to keep ladders in their house?
Yeah,
You know, there's
yeah.
a chap down the end of the road who has a ladder.
Right.
And I think, you know, there's 100-odd houses in this street.
Yeah.
And if one of them has a ladder, that's enough for all of us, right? Yeah, indeed.
Okay then.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
So we're nearly there. We've got a hedge trimmer, we've got
rake and brush.
Yeah, this is Judy.
This is Judy.
Who's going to lend us some clippers, and if we're lucky, if she has enough time, she's going to come and help us out as well.
I think I know more of Sam's neighbours than I do of my own now, which is quite funny.
I'm Judy. Hi.
Judy,
Hello
nice to
there.
meet you.
Hi. It's wonderful to be able to share things. We've all got things we don't use very often. Yeah. And it's lovely for someone else to be able to use them sometimes too. Makes you feel good.
This is the
That's where it all began.
It's amazing. Wow.
So what's so good about sharing, Sam?
It keeps stuff out of landfill. That's got to be good. And if you look at what we've just done today, the carbon footprint, if we'd done that on our own, would be massive. You know, there'd have been some huge supply chain to make the hedge trimmer. It would have been shipped across from China. It would have sat in B&Q, would have driven to B&Q. All of that takes energy. Instead, what we've done is used an existing hedge trimmer that already is out there, and we've walked there. I mean, it's as close to zero carbon footprint as you can get. We think it can be a really big idea. It grows by about 400 or 500 people a month, but it's been spreading entirely by word of mouth. And I think the thing that we want to see is what's happening in this area, happening across every neighbourhood in Britain and indeed the world.
Yeah, so do you think it's fair that we call Sam a local hero?
Ah, totally. Total local hero, if not more than a local hero.
I guess community, I think, is going to be our route out of the environmental crisis that we face. We want to develop a sharing habit in people around the world.
The European Union have set a target to get 20% of their energy needs from renewable sources by 2020. To make that happen, they're going to need to harness the power of the sun, wind and the sea. I'm Oliver Steeds, and I've come to the coast of Northern Ireland to explore the potential of tidal power that's being harnessed by a very special generator.
Half of all Europe's tidal resource flows around UK waters, an immense untapped supply of clean energy.
We're a few miles south of Belfast, and we're coming to this high point to see if we can get a lay of the land. Because down here you can see behind me, that is Strangford Lough, and all the water flows from there and out into the Irish Sea through this channel. It's 8 kilometres wide, it's called Strangford Narrows. It's some of the fastest tidal waters anywhere on the planet. It's also home to this extraordinary contraption. It's the world's first commercial tidal stream power station.
The turbine's just been lifted out of the water for routine maintenance and the blades taken off. But this is what it looks like when it's working. A cross between a giant airplane propeller and a submersible windmill. Its blades turned by the power of the fast-flowing tides.
So we're going to go on the rib and try and get a little bit closer and try and have a look at a bit more of the detail of the turbine. We're right underneath the turbine here, and you can really get the sense of the power of the sea. Apparently this is just a slow tide, 2 meters a second, and at full pace it's going about 5 meters a second. It's enough to drive the blades which powers the turbine, which generates electricity.
The machine's rated at 1.2 megawatts.
What does that really mean? How many homes are going to be powered by that?
When it's generating, it's putting the 1.2 megawatts onto the grid, and it's powering 1,500 homes in Northern Ireland.
1,500 homes is a great contribution, but it's not going to solve our major problem. Is it commercially viable? Can you scale it up?
This is our commercial demonstrator, which is at 1.2 megawatts. For our next lot of planned farms of turbines, so might be between 4 and 10 turbines in one site. Each machine or power station would be 2 megawatts.
It's estimated that harnessing the power of the seas around the UK could meet the electricity demands of 15 million homes, saving up to 70 million tonnes of carbon every single year and providing 16,000 jobs.
Tidal power seems to have many advantages. It's predictable, unlike wind. It's not dependent on rainfall like freshwater hydropower plants. And it doesn't turn off at night like most solar plants. But, and it's a big but, does it hurt marine life? And I've been told that inside here, there's some researchers who are answering that question.
Well, what I'm doing here is watching live video of what's happening around CGN itself. So with the active sonar we have here, we can look out to 80 meters around the device underwater. If I see something coming towards the turbine, I have remote operations of the turbine itself. I could just switch the turbine off, and that would take about 3 seconds to shut down.
3 seconds, shut down, bang, it's all off. The turbine isn't going to kill a seal.
Once commercial, the turbines will be equipped with an automatic detection and shutdown system. It's a crucial protective measure for marine life, but to win the support of conservationists, tidal energy producers need further proof. Dr. Graham Savage is part of the Environmental Impact Assessment team.
Well, call me a bit of a soppy seal lover if you must, but big blades going through the water and seals swimming around, surely it's not very good for them.
Well, I think the thing to remember is that seals are very intelligent creatures, fairly confident that they would keep well clear of the dangers around CGN.
So the big question, have the seals been affected by the turbine?
It has had no biological impact on the seal population in this area.
In fact, not a single seal or large marine animal has been injured, and research shows that CGN has had no effect on fish and the rest of the marine ecosystem. Time to reassemble the turbine.
It's an incredibly difficult procedure to winch up that gearbox, it's 30 tons, off this boat here and on to the turbine.
There's only a tiny window of opportunity when the water's calm, between the incoming and outgoing tides, for the CGN team to get their barge into position to complete this dangerous manoeuvre.
Well, they've been successful. They managed to get the gearbox, 30 tons of it, onto the turbine. And now they need to attach the blades to it, and then that crossbeam can go back down in the water and start generating electricity again.
It's hoped that this turbine is the proof needed by government and business that tidal energy is both a commercially viable and an environmentally sound solution towards decarbonising our electricity supply.
This land in the rugged Barrington tops of New South Wales may now be the last chance for one of Australia's most iconic marsupials, the ferocious predator and scavenger, the Tasmanian devil.
I'm Juliette Pearce. The Tasmanian devil has been around for hundreds of thousands of years, but in the past decade the numbers have started to drop, to the point where in as little as 10 years the devil could be extinct.
With its cousin the Tasmanian tiger or thylacine going extinct in the last century, a campaign is now underway to stop the devil suffering the same fate.
Hi Tim, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So you're the expert on the Tasmanian devils.
Yeah, come on in, we'll have a look. Just here is Scratch and Smeagol.
Yeah.
And they're now almost 2 years old.
Okay, so can we get in a little bit closer?
Not with these two boys. 3 months ago? Yes. But at this point, we're approaching the next breeding season, and right now you'll hear them, squabbling, and they're establishing territories, and with that comes a bit of dominance and aggression. It's got the 4th strongest jaw on Earth for its size. By having a strong jaw, they can crush through bone, they can eat the horns, they can eat the skull, they can eat everything.
So the devils are dying out. What is happening?
Well, they've contracted a disease. It's called DFTD, or devil facial tumour disease.
This disease was first discovered in 1996 and turns healthy animals like this into this. It is one of the few cancers known to be a contagious disease. It spreads from animal to animal when they bite each other, something they do a lot during the breeding season or when they're squabbling over food. Devils have been isolated on Tasmania since the last ice age. Since then, they have undergone several population crashes which have caused a reduction in their genetic diversity because the population was rebuilt from small numbers of survivors. As a result, the immune systems of today's devils don't recognise the tumour cells as foreign because they come from an animal so genetically similar to themselves. So with no immunity against the cancer, the devils will die within 6 months of contracting it.
The disease has spread to 80 or 90% of the state. It has decimated the equal amount of devils. 80-90% of devils are gone. So there's somewhere between 10, 20, 30,000 devils left, and they are still on a rapid spiral downwards.
What would happen if we lose a devil, and what would the impact be on the environment?
Well, they'd be significant. Fox and cat, feral predators, have not been able to establish in Tasmania because the devil predates their young. Now, if the devil's gone and they get established, all of the small fauna in Tasmania, and it's rich with it, that the mainland has lost, that's what's at stake.
And that's where the Devil Ark comes in. At an altitude of 1,350 metres and covering over 500 hectares on mainland Australia, it provides the perfect breeding environment. The Tasmanian-like vegetation and cool, wet and snowy conditions makes the devils feel right at home. John Weigel is the man that launched the Ark.
Well, this seems like a big setup. We've got 50 devils here, but if we're going to really contribute to saving the Tassie devil, we need to conserve the genetic diversity of the species. We're not talking 50 animals, we're talking 500, maybe 1,000.
So what would happen if you introduced devils that have been hand-fed back to Tasmania?
If a species is kept in, let's say, intensive conditions like we have at this part of the program, over a 20 or 30 or 40-year period, they're going to become adapted to living in little pens. We have the ability to keep devils in an environment over an extended period where their natural behaviours can be conserved.
Healthy animals are selected from native Tasmanian habitats, quarantined for 12 months to make sure there is no sign of a disease, and then transported to the Ark. They're kept as close as possible to their wild state so that one day they can be set free back in Tasmania. To do that needs space.
We're on 500 hectares. We're utilising 25 hectares at the moment. Smallest yard's about the size of a football field.
Wow.
Biggest yard's about the size of 3, almost 4 football fields. It's one of the biggest conservation projects going on in Australia, if not the world. It's a big fight that we're fighting to save the Tasmanian devil.
And part of the fight is keeping them fed.
Yeah, this one here. So these are our devils that we got in here. All their names.
I'm under orders to create a scent line. I've done my scent trail, but this is really scary because they're all coming out. So it's been quite effective, I must say, my little job. Adrian, I need your help now. Right, so they can actually eat that entire thing, bones and...
Bones and all. No matter how thick the bone, those guys can chew through it like it's toast.
There's an absolute feeding frenzy going on here. So when are these guys going to be taken back to Tasmania?
We can't put devils back into a diseased environment. So this could be a 20, 30-year project because the disease has to run its course to enable us to be able to put devils back into the environment.
There's no doubt these devils are thriving in their new home on the Australian mainland. But the terrible irony is that unless a way can be found to stop this disease, all the devils in Tasmania may have to die out.
Only when there is not a single contaminated devil left can the new generation of healthy devils be returned to their island home.
Well, that's it for this series of Earthrise, but we'll be back again next year with more stories from all across the world, from the people and projects that are addressing some of our biggest environmental challenges. In the meantime, you can go to our website where you'll find all the stories from this series. And remember, we want you to get in touch with us. You can go online and nominate your own local hero or tell us about any of the stories that you would like us to cover. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next year.